you have your little exposure compensation right here, and you hold that and you can adjust. So am I overexposed, underexposed, or properly exposed? So in this video, I'm telling you guys exactly how you get the perfect exposure every time. Whether you're taking a photo or recording a video, I'm going to show you 3 simple hacks or tricks that you can get your proper exposure every time you take a photo, you record a video, so you stop having to doubt yourself. Is this photo properly exposed or is it not? Stay tuned. What is up, guys? My name is Peter from Broke Visionary Collective, where I help you guys become a better content creator. And in this video, I'm going to talk about exactly how can you actually have proper exposure for every single one of your photos, even if you don't have any experience, even if you're a complete beginner. So if you look into your camera, the easiest method is to look into your camera's own exposure compensation meter. So one of the easiest ways to detect whether or not your video or photo is over or underexposed is you look at your exposure meter, which is right over here. Your camera will actually tell you, you see if it's at the plus, it is way too overexposed, and if it's at the minus here, it is underexposed. And each one of these lines here, as you can see the markers, is telling you whether it's 1, 2, or 3 stops either over or underexposed. So what I can do now is I'm going to hold my ISO and crank down. As you can see, that did not do much. So what you're going to do, I can also change my aperture. And as I'm changing my aperture, you can see my exposure meter is getting corrected. Let's say I underexposed this video here, and it will tell you with the plus and minus that either this photo or video within the sensor is too bright or is too dark, to put it in layman's term. You also have to take into consideration, where is your focus point? Depending on where you move your focus point, your camera itself, depending if it has decent autofocus, will tell you where it is that it's reading. So for example, if I put the autofocus to the point to the back, then chances are it's going to read that instead of my face. So you always want to look into your camera, right? And be like, where's the focus? Is it on my face? And from there, the camera has a sensor that's going to tell you with that, if you keep looking at that meter, whether or not it is over or underexposed just by reading that meter. And for a good rule of thumb, just for the complete beginner, is you want to be either right in the middle or a little bit underexposed, so then you have more things to work with. The more overexposed something is, you lose information, just like as something that is underexposed. But I would rather have something be a little bit underexposed than in comparison to having something way little bit overexposed. As you can see now, this exposure meter right here is telling me this photo or video or whatever the sensor it's detecting is way too underexposed. And one of the secrets is what you want to do for your photos or videos is you want to aim for it to be directly in the middle. So that is one of the key ways of telling yourself whether or not, hey, is this photo either over or underexposed? Is you'll have this little plus minus that you'll see right here. This is your exposure compensation. So instead of changing exactly whatever it's your shutter speed, your ISO, your f-stop, all you can do is you hold this, right? And I want the camera to tell me to take whatever it is and adjust it by 1 stop. And as you can see, it goes up 1 stop. I can adjust it to exactly 2 stops, and I can go to 3 stops. So this is the camera detecting that I want the exposure compensation to go up 3 stops of light. And also I can do the opposite, right? I can hold this down, and I want it to go -1. 1 stop, -2 stops, -3 stops of light. The second method is when it comes to taking your properly exposed photo or video is you want to look at the histogram. The histogram will tell you whether or not your darks and your shadows are getting crushed or your lights are getting way too exposed and it is ruining all of your photo or whatever it is you're trying to capture. A good rule of thumb is you don't want to have any sort of things peak, just like when you're using Photoshop or Lightroom. You want to have a nice and beautiful curve, right? Something goes like that. Any peaks means that it is overly exposed. And here is a little histogram. This is your exposure histogram. So if you're familiar with your curves, is the left is going to be your darks and the right is going to be your highlights and all your bright. So if I crank this all the way up with my aperture, shoot in manual, crank this all the way up, you'll see that histograms start to shift to the right, right? That means it is, if it's all over here, it might mean that it is way too exposed, right? So I'm going to over exaggerate it. And as you can see, it gets crushed and it peaks all the way here. So what I want to do to get a proper exposure by just reading the histogram over here is you want it to be somewhat in the middle. I'll tell you exactly, if I hold it right here, you need to have this, and this settings, but those are for your photographers out there. But that, guys, exactly how you get the proper exposure for any one of your videos and photos. And yes, there are exceptions, like if you want to shoot in S-Log or a certain profile, cinematic profile, then you might want to overexpose or underexpose depending on what type of video recording profile that you are shooting in. But that, guys, is how you do it. And if you want to get more serious about camera gears, doesn't matter what camera you have, all the links to my resources are in the description below. Check that out. My name is Peter. You're watching A Broke Visionary Collective. Get all my guides. You want to see what kind of cameras I have, my resources. All I have the goodies in the description below where I help you become a better content creator, even if you don't have any experience at all. You're watching A Broke Visionary Collective at BVCCO, where we also run nothing, but you can always create something.